All right, welcome back to this week's CFO Swinger Watch. I hope you guys all had a great week last week. All right, we will go ahead and start with the market summary here. All right, now last week was a huge range of volatility. All right, we went from all-time highs and going right back below and dropping below very strong support levels near these all-time high levels. All right, so now, if you guys read the market summary already, you guys should kind of know the general summary of what's going on here, right? But to make things a lot easier and more observable here, let me explain this technical analysis I have for you guys on the overall market, all right? So let's look at the 2-hour chart of SPY. All right. Now, if you guys read the part where I talk about the lower highs, all right, I'm going to be talking about that in a few minutes here. Okay. If you guys got confused about that, I'll make sure to clarify things a lot more. Okay. So on this 2-hour chart here, so we were hovering near all-time high, new all-time high levels around 423. Okay, and if we had gotten above 423, we most likely could have pumped all the up to 425 before sharply reversing and going back down towards major support levels. Right. So I did mention about 2 or 3 weeks ago on this green line here, this horizontal level, that there's strong support level here around $411 or 410.50-ish. Okay, and we're seeing a lot of buyers, right? However, okay, last week I was surprised to see that we only saw about 2 bounces here around this level here. All right, which meant that buyers weren't interested at all, and they weren't interested in stepping up and defending this line as we just completely penetrated right through it, okay, and heading on lower and lower and lower, okay, until so let me switch to the daily chart again, until we hit the daily 50 SMA line. Okay, this dark blue line. Okay, so what does this tell me? All right, so whenever the 50 SMA line has nearly caught up to the candlesticks here, okay, and whenever the price starts to bounce on top of it, all right, I'm going to be expecting a tightening of a range, of the price range on SPY here, okay, which is the reason why, and it's a good segue here, I am wanting to see lower highs, okay, on SPY. All right, so if I switch back to 2-hour time frame here. So the first high that I would consider is around 423. Okay, so around 422.81 here, okay, is where my arrow is here, okay? And then if this one decides to be the second high, so around, I would say 417.49-ish, okay? This will be the second lower high if the price decides to go lower, okay, and breaks below this low right here, which is around 44.80. Okay, and that's how lower highs are made. When they break, when the price goes below, okay, so initially after they bounce on a previous support, okay, and then they establish themselves as a new lower high. When they go below, okay, the low point that was already made previously. Okay, and so you most likely see a pattern like this. Okay, so let me draw it out. So we have, that was our first high here. So we started from there, we bounce, right? And then we reject at a key level of resistance or resistance area. Okay, we go lower, and then we break the previous low. Okay, so we make a lower low, and then we bounce at a previous level of support, or maybe a new level of support. Okay, and let me actually move my time frame here. And then we might reject on this level of support, making to new resistance. And this will be our new or third lower high. Okay, so and then so on and so on and so on. Okay, as we zigzag lower. All right, and so the reason why I say this is the sole reason why I say this is that on a daily time frame, whenever we catch up onto this 50 dark blue line, 50 SMA here, okay, price will start to tighten up, okay, and usually they start to tighten up and coil very, very tightly until at some point the price will break out to the upside or to the downside, depending on what type of pattern we form and what type or the reaction that we see on certain types of levels. Okay, so that's generally my TA on SPY. Okay, just watch out for the levels that I've given you on the CFO Swinger Watch. All right, those are major levels that you need to be watching out for. Okay, and as we're going through the sector rotation here, all right, it might just be a good idea to just watch SPY all week. All right, I mean, I've seen some people who have made incredible gains just momentum trading SPY the whole week, and they didn't even look at any other stock name, and they just did perfectly well, and they didn't stress out like the other millions of retail traders who were stuck on those growth and tech names that were completely falling off their highs. All right, okay, let's look at our first name here. Okay, let me switch back to daily time frame. Okay, so we're looking at RCL, okay, Royal Caribbean Group, or the cruise lines. All right, it's a very famous cruise line. Okay, and apparently all the airlines and cruise lines are seeing demand that they've never seen since 2019, right? So right before COVID, right? And so I personally came back from a vacation to Hawaii, and the whole plane was booked completely, 100%. Okay, so I am actually going to be expecting, or actually speculating, that cruise lines will also be seeing increasing demand of trips for the summer. Okay, as people are getting vaccinated. Okay, and as recently the CDC has stated that people who have received both doses of the vaccine will be allowed to travel and go out without their masks. Okay, and even stay indoors without the masks. Okay, so it looks like a lot of positive news is coming out for the vaccinations and for the economy. Okay, as we continue to recover. Okay, so we will continue to watch airlines and cruise lines. So if you guys remember in the past few watch lists, I have included some names I'm looking at, especially the airlines like Delta and American Airlines. Okay, so continue to watch those names, all right, because they still haven't broken out of their chart patterns yet, or and the levels. Okay, so continue to look at those levels that I've given you in the past. And let me go back to RCO. Okay, so Royal Caribbean Group. Okay, it's another economic recovery name, and we are seeing a very nice bull flag here. Okay, this is one of those textbook bull flags that I love to see. Okay, we have a perfect flagpole here, a very impulsive run up. We have back-to-back consecutive green days here. Okay, very strong run, and then we see weeks and weeks and weeks of consolidation to kind of cool off the steam that was produced here. From the energy that was produced here from this huge impulsive run up. Okay, and now we're just cooling off and forming a nice range here as the flag is getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Okay, so that's mostly the reason why I am not able to give you a very specific entry level. Okay, I'm just giving you a very a good guesstimate is what I would say of where a good entry price or breakout price will be for this bull flag to the upside. Okay, because I don't know whether or not in the near term future we're going to reject again and then bounce and reject again as we get tighter and tighter and tighter until we eventually break out. Okay, so we can see a breakout around 84.50 right here, or we can see a full confirmed breakout around 89 to 90. Okay, so I can't predict the future. Okay, I'm just trying to see the best possibility that we can potentially see on this name for a breakout on this bull flag. All right, so this name has been perfectly consolidating, and if I bring up the RSI, okay, this name has been relatively strong throughout this sector rotation. Okay, and especially on Friday, we saw a lot of volume come in. Okay, we were about more than 1 million in average volume here. If you guys look to the left here, this corner, okay, and if I hover over this candlestick on Friday, we see that the volume was around 4.4 million, while the average volume was around 3.5 million. Okay, so that's around a million there. Okay, so this is telling me that some money is rotating towards these names like cruise lines and airlines. Okay, which is a nice positive sign as we're going into the summer season. All right. Okay, so let's take a look at the second name, Twitter. Okay, so this is kind of a chance name here where I'm just going to be watching this name and only focusing on the technicals here. And as you guys can see, we had this nice gap down here after a bad earnings reaction because they had some bad news. All right, and we are now holding, all right, on the specific key level whole number area of $50. All right. And this is where a lot of buyers came in back in early January of this year. Okay. And Twitter just decided to explode. All right. And so the buyers may be back here again as evident, excuse me, by the levels that are held here around this range of 50 to 50.50ish. Okay. So I'm just looking at this as a pure technical name here, pure technical trade. All right. Just as a warning though, okay, we are still below, all right, below this daily 200 SMA. Okay, so whenever we're looking at the daily time frame and that you see the daily 200 SMA is now above the candlesticks here, and that we're staying below the 200 SMA, right? Um, this is a warning sign for the long term because Twitter can keep on continuing to go down, especially if I see a reject of the 10 SMA here. As you guys can see, how we have see the 10 SMA has completely caught up to the candlesticks here. So this week, if we see a rejection in 10 SMA, we can absolutely see a continuation to the downside for Twitter. Okay, and so there isn't a lot of support between these two ranges here. So I would most likely see if I were to go short on this name, and I have given you guys a short entry here. Okay, I would like to see some profit taking around 47 and below. Okay, so at major support levels. Okay, so good luck on Twitter here. I'm only going to be treating it as a pure technical trade here, and so just make sure you guys are monitoring your trades effectively. All right. So CARG. Okay, that's our next name here. Okay, so the reason why I posted this name on the CFO Swinger Watch is that I've actually posted this on my Instagram page as well publicly here, right around here when we start to see some type of bounce. All right, but now we're looking at the name after earnings, and apparently, okay, CARG or car gurus are doing extremely well, and especially on their rental demand as well. Because when I was on vacation in Hawaii, the rental demands are so high and the supply of cars are so low that these renters had to hike up their prices for whatever car that they had left available. Right, so renting a car for me was very very hard, and it's quite expensive as well. But I would say it was worth it since it was Hawaii, so I was able to drive throughout the different beautiful beaches of Hawaii. Okay, so it was a great time, but yeah, so the rental demand is very high, and there seems to be a lot of people who are trying to lease and buy cars through car gurus, and it seems like that trend is going to go on for a few more months here, or even a few more years. Okay, and so this tech name, as I was saying here, is looking to form a bull flag here. As you guys can see, we are seeing, if I go into the 2 hour time frame here, all right, we're starting to see um, lower highs happening here, okay, and then higher lows here, okay, and so we're starting to see some type of a bull flag, and specifically a bull pennant, right? If you guys don't know what that is, it's just a bull flag that's kind of slanted, okay, except they have higher lows and then lower highs like this. There's like one of those cartoonish images of a flag that a kid might draw, right? So this is a bullish pennant, right? So right here, okay, I'm expecting another rejection at this second point here, and then we will most likely, hopefully, see a momentum back towards the upside as buyers defend these uptrend support levels and continue to go up higher towards 30 and above, okay, and come back to January levels here, right, and hopefully stick to this range here and start range trading here again, okay, before we explode off again. All right. So, consolidation is always good to see. Okay. Now, The other names that I'm looking at, okay, Baba. Okay, so this is a name that has been completely beaten down. Okay, so every time we have some positive news, okay, we come straight back down, okay, and start going lower and lower and lower. All right. Now, the reason why I'm looking at Baba, and also another reason why I'm actually in this name, okay, I'm currently in this name, so this is a biased opinion here, okay, but also at the same time, a logical technical point of view here, okay, is that on the weekly time frame, okay, so the further you go out on the time frame, okay, um, the more larger time frame that you need to be thinking about, right? Of how long you want to hold the name, okay? Especially if you're long, right? So on the weekly time frame, we are at a pivotal point here, right? So this green ascending support trend line here, okay, is looking like we can bounce, okay? If we do indeed bounce, all right? The only thing that is holding me off from adding more into my position, my current position, is that on the weekly time frame, if you guys see the volume here, okay, there is a lot of selling volume, right? I mean, just look at the average volume and the weekly volume from last week, right? Last week's volume was 134.8 million, while the average usually was around 95 million. Okay, so this can also be a very good sign as well, because if we switch towards the bull side, right, and buyers come back in, okay, there can possibly be a lot of buyers as sellers switch to become buyers and adding even more volume, which means there's more of a possibility that we could see a strong bounce and a nice pivot around 204 to 210 levels here. Okay, so it's a wide range. So if you guys aren't patient, I would highly recommend you guys to wait for confirmation that price is indeed wanting to bounce off of this trend line. Okay. And so the other name that I'm looking at, okay, you guys probably know this because of Wall Street Bets, all right? AMC. Okay. So AMC has been having some great news so far. They've raised a lot of cash. They have a new board here, I believe, or a new I don't actually don't remember. We'll have to go back. But they have a new executive member on their board, and so far it seems like AMC still has some shorts to squeeze out. So a lot of people are saying it's GameStop 2.0, but hey, this is just a fun trade that I'm looking to potentially trade and maybe profit a lot in. Okay, and just from a technical point of view, we've broken to the upside after earnings here on this really big symmetrical triangle or wedge. They're both synonymous names there. Okay, and so a huge influx of buying here, right? And we cooled off on Friday, right? But we are now holding a previous level of resistance as new support. Okay, so if we continue to kind of tighten up a range here, okay, we might form a small flag, a momentum flag, and continue to go upwards and become an explosive name again, and maybe go back up to the 20s. All right. So this is just a fun meme stock that I'm looking at. All right. So this can be potentially a name that can help you profit this week, especially if you guys have small accounts. All right. But names like Twitter and CARG and RCL have cheap options available as well. But especially if you guys are only comfortable playing with equity, AMC is a great alternative here than rather than playing options, and CARG is as well, and Twitter is as well. Okay. So that's it for this week. All right. Please be safe with these market conditions, as inflation worries are still heavy up in the air, as a lot of news networks are still talking about it. And as you guys have seen, the CPI numbers are not looking good. As the basic foods and services that every consumer needs and uses has been rising sharply. If you guys follow Michael Burry, you guys if you guys don't know who that is, he's a very famous investor or trader, if you guys want to call him a trader, who profited millions in the big short back in the 2008 crash and recession. And he also called out that housing market crash. And so he's also called out about inflation and the CPI numbers. Right, so he is right once again. Right, so with so much negative sentiment, right, this is a good chance for you to kind of recuperate, any losses that you may have had, or maybe step back from trading for a bit and just watch the charts only. Okay, and see where the money is rotating to, what sectors are rotating to, okay, and see what you can potentially trade that's going to give you a high probability opportunity to profit, right? So stay safe out there and good luck to this new trading week. I'll see you guys next week.